that it's not just this simple algorithm. It's a complex, deep learning entity that has unlimited capability. That's going to be way smarter than us, and it's going to take a lot of jobs. We need to prepare, and if it's state by state, then great. But we have to be aware and prepare for it. And we can merge with it. We can create laws for it. We can do a lot of things and develop with it. And because right now it's just a whirlwind. It's like this big storm. We don't want it to be a storm. We want it to be incremental. We want it to be a slow process. And that's not what's happening right now.
This is Find Joy with Joyan Season 2, where joy gets stronger, our community gets bigger, and together we become better versions of ourselves in a world full of limitless possibilities. I'm your host, Joyan Chan. And every Wednesday, we bring you inspiring stories that will light up your soul, powerful message that will make you go wow, and fun conversations that will crack you up. With me and my special guests and friends, it is my personal mission to empower you to live and lead a life with joy. If you are new here, this podcast is for you. If you are looking for more joy, courage, passion, and purpose in your life, we dive deep into mindset mastery, spirituality, love and relationship matters, and how to manifest more success and abundance in all aspects of your life, however that looks. This podcast has got your back every step of the way. Now, without further ado, get ready to laugh, learn, and live your life to the fullest. Our guest today is a best-selling science fiction author, accomplished trial lawyer, and an options screenwriter by John Godwin Productions. Drawing from his diverse background, which includes a law degree and experience as a trial lawyer, and with a passion for exploring the intricate relationship between humanity and technology, he has an unparalleled talent for capturing the intricacies of a dark and uncertain future, offering a gripping exploration of the dangers and wonders that emerge when humanity's creations come to life. He's here today to uncover the hidden use of artificial intelligence in our daily lives and the consequences of this unknown truth. So guys, help me in welcoming the author of The Last Resistance, Robert Kiesling. Welcome to the show, Robert.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So the first place that I want to start with you, like I mentioned to you, I went to your website, I look at your work, and on your website, the first thing that I see is this quote, which grabs my attention. It says, behind every AI algorithm is a human watching. So talk to us about it. What does this statement imply about the relationship between AI technology and human involvement?
So in my research, when I started out, I didn't know much about artificial intelligence. There was a case called Wisconsin versus Loomis out of the United States, where they actually sentenced him to 5 years in prison with the use of artificial intelligence, what's called a black box, which is a proprietary algorithm. And they said that the corporation's right to keep that a secret. How they formulated to sentence him to 5 years trumped his due process rights, which I think is absolutely unconstitutional. And then that got me started down the rabbit hole of artificial intelligence. And so when I say that behind every algorithm, human is watching, it's because any artificial intelligence that you utilize or are using, you are providing it information, whether subconsciously or consciously. And that information is going to a for-profit or even maybe not nonprofit corporation, but mostly for-profit corporations. And they utilize all of that information, everything about you. And anytime that if they know 3 data points on you, then they know everything about you, or they actually have a dossier. And there's a thing called surveillance capitalism, which isn't what you think it is. It's an ominous term, but it really related to corporations. What happens is that, say, for example, that you were looking at a dress online, and then you go to TikTok and you see an advertisement for a dress. Then you go to, say, YouTube, and then there's an ad for a dress. Well, what happens is that it's not a coincidence. It's surveillance capitalism, and your data is being sold by data brokers in real time.
Wow.
So when I say they're behind every algorithm is a human watching, I mean, and that's not even covering probably the, the clandestine agencies and what involves with that. That's just straight up corporations. So that's what I mean by that.
Mm. Okay, that part I understand as an online user, whenever I search something on Google or on any websites, the next thing I will see on another platform is that exactly what I just searched, right? It's algorithm. That's how it works. That part I understand. But when you mention something like you mentioned we can provide information, whether it's consciously or subconsciously. How do we provide information subconsciously?
So what I mean by that is a lot of people aren't aware that when they go to websites like ChatGPT,
Yeah.
there's a certain section that if you automatically opted in to the database, and by you using ChatGPT, I mean subconsciously, you're actually providing that information. You're not knowingly doing it, but you're doing it, and they're utilizing that to train its model and to learn a deep learning model. I believe it's deep learning. That's what I mean by
Okay.
subconscious.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Then you also talk about the three data points. What are the three data points that you are referring to?
So if they know what color you like, they know what kind of dog you like, they know where you work, those would be data points. If they have three of those data points, they say that they can pretty much create a profile on you.
Okay. So basically I'm using ChatGPT quite I would say actually like every day I'm using ChatGPT, for my own research or
Yeah, of
even
course.
yeah, that's what is being promoted right now, right? Especially when it comes to online marketing or even business or even anything.
Yeah.
So can you okay, so that's where my as far as my knowledge goes, right? ChatGPT, AI. But can you share some insights into how artificial intelligence is currently being utilized or misused? Okay, maybe not misused, but being utilized in our daily lives, especially in areas that the general public might not be widely recognized by the general public.
Well, one would be like the company called Compass using the black boxes and them sentencing and using that to sentence individuals without knowing what the proprietary algorithm is for it. That would be one. I think that two, like I said earlier, with the data and use of consciously providing that data to them, like on Chat GPT. And then three would be the biggest one is really when countries that have different ideologies, obviously they're competing in the new arms race is artificial intelligence. So I don't fault the countries for competing and utilizing, but what happens when you use an autonomous weaponized system that is not, so there's general artificial intelligence and then there's narrow. So general would be like the Terminator stuff, and then narrow artificial intelligence is like I always say, it's like within a circle, it can think. The algorithm's there, and it can think in all that part of the circle, but it won't go outside of that circle. Well, allegedly. So I'm talking more about the general AI, and when you start to use autonomous AI weapons that are targeting humans, then that's a recipe for disaster, in my opinion. And they're doing it. All countries are developing it. There's no getting around that. They are absolutely utilizing it.
Really? There are countries
Yeah,
developing it?
absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you can pull it up on AP. I mean, if, drones, artificial intelligent drones, autonomous drones, that kind of thing. They even have like jets now. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, so what would you say? That's scary. What would you say? What are some of the potential risks or consequences of AI being integrated into various aspects of our life, of society without proper regulation or oversight?
Well, Goldman Sachs, they have a figure that 300 to 400 million jobs are going to be lost by 2030 to automation and artificial intelligence. And that's another stat that you can pull up as well. So with that, and they don't have anything in place to replace those jobs. Even conservatively, that said they were like 30% they could replace. Think about that massive global number of all those people out of work. What are they going to do? And that's going to lead to crime. That's going to lead to an uptick in black market. That's going to lead to an uptick in an upheaval, social upheaval. I mean, it's going to lead to all these things, and we're not talking about it. They're not saying anything about this. They're like, oh, hey, we're just going to regulate AI and ethics. Okay, great. But what is that going to do? Like they like to talk about, oh, when it becomes sentient or the singularity, and what is it going to do? Well, that's great, but they're not talking about the real applications right now. People are going to lose jobs. Tons of people are going to lose jobs, and we're
Yeah.
not prepared.
Yeah. And what kind of jobs are gonna what kind of jobs would you say, or what kind of industry are the one that will be mostly affected by AI development?
Servers, I think, artists, podcasters, right?
Really?
Right? Lawyers, I mean, doctors. I don't think there's going to be a segment of society that is not going to be, in some form or another, it's going to be utilizing AI. I think the best that we can hope for is that we are able to merge with it. And I don't mean like I said, like Elon Musk and bring implants and all that. I mean, like, you're going to have to use it as a skill. You're going to have that. And like, we're able to do that, and like, because of my background, I'm able to really utilize like ChatGPT, Claude, and some other great artificial intelligence programs that save me a lot of time. But I fear for the other generations that are underneath me that are going to look at it and say, okay, you do that, AI do this, AI do that, and they're not going to know the difference between what it's saying and what it's doing. And then there's a thing called hallucination. And hallucination in artificial intelligence, you're probably aware of that, where it says a bunch of stuff. It sounds really cool and it sounds really factual, but it's BS. So it's like, you got to fact check and you got to fact check your AI.
So, okay, what can we do about it? Is there
Yeah,
anything that we can do to safeguard, I don't know, our job or our personal data, in the face of increasing AI integration in our life?
sure. I would say that there's tons of people way smarter than me. They're going to have to figure that out. I couldn't tell you what kind of legislation. I just don't really know. That I think that just by us talking about it and getting it out to the masses is the first step, and for people to realize just how dire the situation is. And it could be a beautiful thing, it could be amazing, but the more that, I mean, if you talk to, let's say you talked about 10 people, I bet if you said, hey, what's AI, they're like, oh, it's just like this computer thing. They don't realize that the ramifications. Now, if you use ChatGPT and you conversate with it, you get an idea like, well, this is pretty deep stuff for it to be able to communicate with me the way it does. And just think about that. I really don't know, because I think there's just so much abuse out there for it, especially with some of the countries that use the bots and they hire Western companies and corporations to influence elections and do some other things. I'm not going to mention anything. One, I don't want to get sued, and two, it's probably best to, people can do that research on their own. But that's it's an ethical issue, and I think that the first thing is a dialogue. Second is some kind of ethics around the world to use and not use, and what they can use it, and then what the penalties would be, and then who's going to be at fault when AI does something. Is it because you can't really? What are you going to do? Delete the AI? Yeah, I mean, who are you going to hold responsible? The company, the corporation? I don't know.
Yeah, it's quite complicated. And it reminds me of recently I had a conversation with someone and he showed me an Instagram page of a resort in Indonesia, which is beautiful, and with this beautiful woman, Asian woman, promoting it, have a picture there, walking along the beach and things like that. And he asked me this question, like, what do you think about this? I can't remember exactly what he asked me, but I said to him, it's beautiful. And he said to me that, this is being generated by AI. This young lady is AI generated. It's AI. I
Yeah,
was like, holy cow, I can't believe it. Like, it's a
yeah.
real human being. It looks to me, but it's AI. Are you serious? And they're using her, they created her to promote the resort, and I was like, this is crazy. And that's the moment I realized, wow, this I know there's no control anymore in terms of what we can do with AI and what we can do with AI.
It's Pandora's box. It's just like you said, and that's just that one little microcosm that you're
Yeah.
talking about. Then we're talking about, like, I mean, and think about how you were blown away with that. I can't imagine what the again, the civilian and the military applications of it are just terrifying.
Yeah. But okay, if we were to look at the bright side, what are some of the what are your hopes about, regarding the future of AI, development? How can it make the world a better place?
Yeah, I'm hoping that it's going to be able to think of things that we never thought of. They say it's going to be a trillion times smarter. So I tell people that hopefully that instead, and when we're competing for the same resources of the AI, obviously if it's AI or us, it probably chooses itself. But I think that if it's a trillion times smarter, that the AI is going to figure out a way to utilize other resources, and instead of stepping on us like an ant, it'll probably just step over us. And we'll probably utilize some form of it, but where it goes and what it does will probably be far surpass any kind of human intelligence.
Mm, yeah. And let's talk
But
about your,
incorporating it, oh, I'm sorry.
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, just incorporating it. I think as you've seen, I mean, it's done wonders for me as far as the civilian application of ChatGPT and Claude and some other legal research that I otherwise wouldn't have been had the opportunity to utilize or use. But
Mm,
short of that, again, you still have to be very careful and you have to double check it at this point.
yeah, yeah. And I feel like, I now I rely heavily on ChatGPT. I feel like every time I'm going to use ChatGPT, I become dumber and dumber, like my intelligence is getting lower and lower because yeah, I can't think anymore, right? I used to be able to think on my own, right? Come up with ideas.
Yeah,
Now I have to rely on the robot, and that's crazy.
you're busy, right? So it's like you can
It's
do
an
20
excuse,
times
right?
things. Yeah, 20 times more things than you could have ever done before. And it's automated. I get it. But yeah, you're definitely sacrificing a part of that thinking process. What
Yeah.
that does and how it affects us in the future is unknown.
Yeah, I think come back to your message is just have to be aware of what you are doing
Right.
and what is doing to you, right,
Yeah.
as a human being. So now let's talk about your novel. I know you have published a new novel
Yeah.
recently.
The last
Yeah,
resistance.
The Last Resistance. So how did you come up with the concept of this novel?
Originally, it was called The Day Science Fiction Died. And I really love that title, but I didn't test as well. So I utilized the Last Resistance. I actually came up with it. I'd woken up. I was like doing Netflix or something, and one of the category science fiction wasn't there. I don't. It was like a glitch or something related to the app. But I was like, wow, what a concept! What if it never existed? And then it kind of stemmed from there. And after my research with artificial intelligence, it just I worked on it with a couple of the writers when I was doing Discredited Citizen at John Goldwyn, and I was kind of playing with this at that time as well. And then I just thought, well, it'd be a good spinoff of artificial intelligence, and I really just wanted to make people aware. So that's kind of how I have blossomed into that concept.
And how long did it take for you to write this book?
It was a screenplay originally, but yeah, this is probably the longest. It was like 5 years that in development for me. Yeah,
Wow.
it usually doesn't take that long, but this one I wanted to make it to be the best possible book I could make before I got it out there.
Did you use AI to write this book?
Yeah, I would. I'm not saying I wouldn't, but you can't. If you've used ChatGPT, you know it repeats it. It does a bunch of stuff. It doesn't. It's not very reliable. You can get great words from it. You can get great verbs from it. You can get a lot of
Yeah.
great ideas from it. But as far as the writing aspect of it, even to a point, I would be very cautious of it even being an editor. I mean, it's great for nonfiction stuff, and I utilize it with that. But as far as fiction stuff, I think you got to be very careful. So the answer is no, but I would definitely be open to collaboration with AI. I mean, it's inevitable, I think.
Mm. And and also you started a YouTube channel. I can't remember the name.
Robot crime blog, yeah,
Yeah,
right.
exactly. Dedicated to crime and AI. So
Yeah.
what got you started to the channel?
That was the Loomis case. So I'm like, wow, if this is the case with artificial intelligence. Then after seeing that, looking at that, going into other facets of different areas of the law, and then looking at the deep fakes, like you said, where they had the Obama, and then how they showed him. I can't remember who the gentleman was, one of the famous directors, and the tons of crime that is available. Then I was researching, and I couldn't believe all the experts and the answers of the experts that were consulting the government saying we don't know what's going to happen. I'm like, wait, you guys are creating this autonomous super intelligent thing and you don't know what it's capable of and what it's going to do. And then there's a part I wrote. It was artificial intelligence and it had like certain data points. I was going to create a kind of a Black Mirror episode of it, and kind of pitched it to someone out of Netflix, but it was related to, it had set like, there was like serial killers, and then there was 10 points, general points, and then I take 10 general points of the AI, and I was creating a story on that. But I'm going down a rabbit hole. Anywho, so that's kind of how the robot crime blog, and then I just try to create articles that are either related to crime, or related to any kind of, I guess, intrusion on any kind of constitutional rights related to people, and just try, again, back to just making people aware that it's out there, and this dark side of the AI is out there as well.
And why are you so passionate about this topic?
Because when I've never ever seen in the history of humanity, the next 5 years are going to be determined by artificial intelligence, and it affects all of humanity. I just think that there could be this revolution that could be really great, or it could be really, really Orwellian. And I'm really not wanting to lose any of the rights that we have, and the world, and the few rights in some of the countries, and making it more aware in other countries. But it's a global concern. And if I don't act, if I don't do my part, I would feel guilty that I'm not making people aware of it, because it's not good. It is not good if we're not aware of it.
Yeah, wow. Okay. So what is the key message that you want to let our audience know today? So our audience are across the world, and what is really the key message they are trying to convey to our audience today?
Just be aware of AI, and the more you're aware of it, talk to people about it, and then talk to the politicians about it, talk to congressmen about it, and make them aware that it's not just this simple algorithm. It's a complex, deep learning entity that has unlimited capability, that's going to be way smarter than us. And it's going to take a lot of jobs. We need to prepare. And if it's state by state, then great. But we have to be aware and prepare for it. And we can merge with it. We can create laws for it. We can do a lot of things and develop with it. And because right now it's just a whirlwind. It's like this big storm. We don't want it to be a storm. We want it to be incremental. We want it to be a slow process. And it's not. And that's not what's happening right now.
Yeah, it's going so fast right now, AI and everything. So
yeah,
where does AI come from? I mean, because I'm not into AI. I know nothing about AI. I have not done any research. So where does AI come from? Who come up with this idea?
And that's a very interesting thing. Another thing that the experts will say is, one, it's an algorithm, but two, they don't even know how it comes up with some of the concepts. Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
That doesn't make it more.
That's what I'm saying. I have to be a Debbie Downer, but it's
really
like,
no one develop, or
But then not everything, but right. There's certain calculations. Like, remember, right. I'll give you an example. Do you remember did you hear about the Facebook when the two AIs were talking to each other?
Yeah.
Right, but they didn't tell you the whole story. The reason they freaked out about that is like, they were communicating. It would be like I, and then it would say hammer, 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 and then I hammer. Like, it was doing that stuff, and they're like, well, what are they doing? It was communicating verbally, mathematically, and like there was something else. So there were layers in that communication to be more effective of what it was doing in its own language, and they still didn't understand. They still don't understand the whole thing. At least that's my understanding of it.
Wow, that yeah, like I said, that doesn't make it sound any better. So that's right. Yeah, that just makes it worse.
Right. That's why I'm trying to create awareness, because that's the same conclusion I drew. I'm like, well, what was the case?
Yeah.
Team. Hello.
Yeah, and they are learning. I think they are, like you said, right? They are deep learning machine. They are learning even without our, monitoring, right?
Right.
Oh my God, that's crazy. Yeah, they're gonna take over the world, right? It's just like any movies that we have seen before, like sci-fi. And it's gonna happen.
Isn't that what the guy from Black Mirror said?
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so let's end it on a positive note. I mean, this episode. Is there anything you really want to talk about? Perhaps I didn't ask you or didn't let you.
No, just I think you hit the nail on the head. It just create an awareness of it. I don't think there's anything it's nothing to panic about. We just got to be able to create awareness about it.
I'm pretty panicked right now.
Yeah. I think there's a positive side of it, but if we don't create this alarm now, then by the time 2 years from now, that's going to be way too late. So the positive note is the fact that we're talking about it right now. And the more people talk about it, the more the awareness is raised of it, and the more we'll be aware of it. And if people are aware of it, I think it's less likely that we'll have the same issues as opposed to not being aware of it, being blindsided by it.
Yeah, yeah. And so thank you so much for coming and
Of course.
sharing. And because this is the first time actually, I'm actually having an AI expert on the show to talk about this, like first time. So I'm really grateful and appreciate your time and insights to raise awareness and also share this with my audience, right? Because otherwise I wouldn't know as well. So thank you so much for coming. And now I would like I said, our
Thank
listeners
you.
across the world, tell them where they can find you, connect with you, and buy your book.
Sure. You can go on Amazon and you can find The Last Resistance. It's in Kindle form. It's on sale now for 99 cents and also Kindle Unlimited for free. You can also reach me on Robot Crime Blog. I have it's called jointhecause.ai. So you can actually type in jointhecause.ai and I'll take you to the page and talk about AI ethics. And then I have a shirt and I have some merch that you can use and you can wear and just create the awareness of AI. So that's the two biggest places you can probably find me. Twitter, same thing. Any robot crime blog, it's usually me. So you can find me pretty easy.
Yeah, I saw your
And
shirts.
thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. I saw your shirts. I thought that was pretty cool.
Ah, thank you.
Yeah. So thank you so much again. Yeah, guys, I will put all the links and resources for you today in the show note below. So make sure you visit the show note and give Robert a follow, subscribe to his YouTube channel, get the book, and share this episode with your friends and family, with your colleagues, your networks. Together we can. I know this is the only thing that we can do right now is to spread the word, right? So everyone is making sure that everyone is aware what is the danger and also the wonders. So remember to subscribe to this podcast so you never miss any new episode coming to you every Wednesday. Thanks for listening, and I wish you all a joyful and amazing day ahead. Bye, Robert. Thank you again for tuning into Find Joy Joyan podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, take a screenshot and share it on your IG story and take Find Joy Joyan _podcast so I know you are listening. And leave us a positive review on Apple Podcasts if you haven't already done so. And remember to hit the subscribe button whether you are listening on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, or any of your other favorite platforms. If you love what we are doing and want to become one of our sponsors, you can send me a DM to connect. And thanks for being here. I will see you soon in the next episode.